Hey guys, it's your coach Adam. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the 10 most common problems that I see poker players having today. I'm going to ask this question by a fellow poker coach. I thought it was an interesting one. I want to dig deep into it. Also, I want to make this video a bit longer. A few people have said my video's been a bit too short recently, so I'm going to dive in with a much longer video for you guys today. So, what's the most common problems that poker players are facing today? In no particular order, I'm going to go through 10 of the most common. Problem number one is over-attachment to short-term results. This shows up over and over again, and it's one of those things that it stops you putting volume, it leads to self-doubt, it leads to this frustration, there's too much attachment to what's happening in the short term. And as poker players, we need to know that there's so much variance. No matter what format you play, there's a lot of variance, and your results on a daily basis mean nothing. You need to get away from this attachment to your short-term results and just accept that's out of your hands. Stop checking your results, stop refreshing your graph every 2 minutes, every 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. You really need to zoom out from that attachment to your short-term results. It's probably the most common problem I see in the poker community today, and it's one that it causes so many problems. So many problems come from it, from the self-doubt, the lack of volume, like I said, and you really need to take control of the situation. You put up default habits where you're checking your results too much, where you're just clicking on your poker tracker to see what your results are, and it's just leading to this negative cycle of, yes, pretty much all negatives come from checking your results. You rarely check your results, feel amazing about it, and just go yes, because you expect to win. So when you lose, it has negative consequences. So if you're one of those people who does check the results too often, make sure that you're nipping that in the bud. Problem number two is a lack of consistency. You need to be consistent with your habits and behaviors if you want to have success in poker. You need to just turn up over and over and over again. You can't think that it's going to be one monumental effort, get rich, and then you're done. You've got to find that consistency in your life. And a lot of poker players, they're on and they're off. They'll find like a week where they feel really motivated, they'll put loads of hours in, then the next week they can't be bothered to get out of bed. And that doesn't work. You've got to find that consistency on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis, because your results as a poker player are on a continuum. So you need to be consistent. If you want, it's going to be mapped out over the course of years, your results. So how much you do, how much effort you put in is going to be reflected by that. If you haven't got consistency, you're never going to have success in poker, so you really need to start cultivating that in your days and your weeks. Problem number three is an unprofessional approach to the game. Now that means not having a schedule. That means not having study time that you stick to. That means lying in and not just getting up when you want to. Poker is a professional occupation and you need to treat it seriously. If you want to have success in it, it's very competitive. You've got to do better than those around you. You've got to be learning at a quick rate. You've got to treat it like a job. So much money to be made at poker, but you've got to treat it like a professional. One of the skills that I did very early on in my poker career was realize, oh, this is going to be my job going forward. I do need to have sort of a structured day, structured schedule that I stick to. So the first thing you need to do is plan your week ahead. On the Sunday night, plan what your week's going to look like. How many hours do you want to do? Do you want to do 20 hours, 30 hours? Just decide on the number of hours that you're going to do the following week, and then have a schedule. Have a schedule where you wake up at, say, 8 a.m. You start your grind at 9 a.m. It's not flexible. It's not flexible. Just set it in stone. Create the structure around your day so that you're professional. Start acting like a professional. Stop acting like an amateur. And if you want to have success in poker, real success, you do need to have a more professional approach, which does mean scheduling and planning. Problem number four is bad sleep habits. So many poker players have an awful relationship with sleep. It has such a detrimental effect on their performance. Because poker, especially online, is a 24/7 thing, poker players feel like they can just play into the early hours of the night and they can just wake up when they want, and they don't realize that it's such a consequence. It has such a negative consequence on your energy levels, your focus, your ability to be productive, put volume in. You do need that set sleep structure, and you do generally need to sleep when it's nighttime and be awake when it's daytime. A lot of poker players kind of wake up mid-afternoon, they'll grind way late into the night, and you can do that in short durations. You can do it occasionally when the lobbies are good, but you do need to realize that your sleep habits are really key for poker players. It's one of the biggest performance enhancers you can possibly have. Having structured sleep, getting good rest, getting good recuperation, be able to focus, make better decisions are all affected by sleep. So you do need to get on top of it and have some structure to your sleep patterns. Get at least 7 to 9 hours. I recommend all the players I work with to get at least 8 hours because it is so important that you recover in between sessions. Problem number five is bad lifestyle habits. Just generally living like a bit of a slob, not caring what you eat, not exercising, thinking that it doesn't have any repercussions, and it doesn't in the short term, but over the long term, having a bad diet, not being active, it really does affect your mental state. And you can use this as a performance enhancer. If you're eating good foods, eating the brain foods, eating the good fats, the good proteins that are going to enhance your brain, it does really affect your decision making. It does really affect your results at the tables. It's not like a magic pill. It's not like take the supplement and all of a sudden you're a superstar. It doesn't work like that, but the long-term repercussions of eating a healthy diet, looking after yourself, do pay off on the other tables. So you do need to make sure you're having better lifestyle habits. So many poker players take for granted eating sugary foods, eating processed foods, not caring or thinking about what they eat, really just having what's the most convenient option, and it's just not going to get you far. It's going to hold you back, so you do need to put some time and effort into thinking, what am I eating? Is it helping me or hindering me? Because it's either or. Either your food is working in your favour, it's good nutrition, it's good for your brain, or it's not. And your body's struggling to digest it, it's struggling to process it, and it's leading to insulin spikes and sugar crashes. So you need to think about your diet and also exercise. There's no excuse for not exercising 3 or 4 times a week. Whether it's brisk walking, whether it's jogging, whether it's going to the gym and lifting heavy weight, just get doing it regularly and notice benefits in your poker results. Problem 6 is a lack of emotional control. Not being able to control your stress responses, blowing things out of proportion, tilting easily, responding very badly to a bit of variance in the poker game. And as a poker player, you all know that it's very brutal. For the most part, there's ups and downs, and you need to be able to control your emotions. If you're getting wound up every time you run aces and kings and aces, you're not going to be a successful poker player. You need to be able to control your emotions. Don't let the variance of the game, the natural things that happen every single day, affect you emotionally. And obviously, we're human. We have some effect. We're going to get affected a little bit when things aren't going our way. But you need to be able to control that. You need to make it, oh yeah, I get frustrated, but then I control it. If you're getting frustrated, it's leading you to make bad decisions. You're tilting. You finish your session, you're angry for 2-3 hours. That shows that you can't control your emotions. You can't control your stress responses, and you need to work on that. So think about it. If you're someone who's tilting all the time, getting angry, you feel like the cards are against you all the time, you're generally not going to be managing your emotions very well, and you need to be working on that off the table. Problem number 7 is no goals other than short-term financial goals. And most of us get into poker because of the money, because we want to make ends meet, we want to do it as a job, we want to have enough income so that we can support ourselves playing poker, which is fine as a starting point, but it's very soon gets demotivating. It's not enough to keep you going. It's not enough to get out of bed in the morning. It's not enough to drive that real kind of desire to push and strive and do more. It doesn't drive the motivation to do the hard things. So you do need to think about, what are your goals? Sit down and think about it. What do you want to achieve over the next year as a poker player? What do you want to achieve over the next few months? What are your weekly goals? You really need to break it down into a structured pattern where you know what you're aiming for. Because if it's very vague, like, yeah, I want to make a little bit more money, it just doesn't allow you to fulfill yourself. So you do need to get away from the initial motivation. So yeah, fair enough, you're motivated by money initially, but you've got to get past that. You've got to get past that and have new goals, have more lifestyle goals, have more experience-based goals, which really drive you. And I found that when I got put my goals in line with my behaviors, it was so much easier. Because at first I was just driven by the money. Then I got to a point where the money wasn't as motivating, and I could have easily eased off at that moment. Then I started to think past poker. I started to think, what do I want to do with my life? What do I want to experience? Where do I want to live? What do I want to do on a daily, weekly basis that makes my life awesome? And once I started to have my goals, and poker was a part of that, part of the journey to make the money so that I could live the life I wanted, all of a sudden I could take the actions, I could be disciplined, I could do the things that were needed in order to get that outcome. So think about your goals. So many poker players haven't got them. If you're one of those guys, sit down, think about your goals, and get some clarity on where you're going to go. Problem number 8 is an unwillingness to do the boring things. The studying, the going through solvers, the database analysis, the critical analysis when you're talking with other people and trying to dissect your game, the tough stuff where it's difficult, it's hard. So many players don't want to do that. When they want to improve their game, they will look for hand histories. They'll just casually click through the hand histories, any mistakes. They will watch YouTube videos like this one. They will watch the high stakes games, the pros playing, and the class that is studying, the class that is trying to learn. But that's the easy stuff. That's almost like the fun stuff. You need to do the hard stuff too. You need to sit down there with a solver. You need to sit down and deeply analyze your game using database analysis. You need to do the tough stuff that other people aren't willing to do. If you want to excel in the poker climate, you want to be one of the best players and make really good money, you need to do the stuff that other people aren't willing to do. So be aware that everyone's willing to watch a YouTube video. Everyone's willing to watch some high stakes poker. Not many people are willing to sit down, pen and paper, with a solver and try and make reflections of their own game and how they can interact with complex solutions. So that's the tough stuff. You need to be able to do the tough stuff if you're going to excel in the current poker climate. Problem number 9 is unrealistic expectations. So many poker players expect it to be easy. They expect, because they've read some stuff, they've watched my videos, that all of a sudden they're just going to crush it. It's going to be easy. It's going to be smooth sailing. Poker is not smooth sailing. It's a really choppy ride. Like, yes, when you zoom out, it can be a smooth trajectory, but on the daily, weekly basis, it can be a bit torturous. It's going to be tough. Don't expect it to be easy. So if you're going in there expecting it to be easy, all of a sudden you hit a roadblock and you get demoralized. You have 3 or 4 losing days in a row. You think the world's going to end. You think, why is this happening to me? That's because you've got unrealistic expectations. You need to realize over weeks, over months sometimes, you're going to get punched in the face. You're going to get slapped around. Your results are going to get, money's going to take from your bank account. Because this is poker, there's variance involved. And once you get realistic with that, all of a sudden it can't hurt you. You can't get hurt by the variance once you're used to it, once you're expecting it. If you're expecting, okay, anything can happen. Obviously, you want to win. Each day you play, every session, your goal is to win that session, but it's out of your control. And once you stop attaching yourself to short-term results, stop expecting to be so smooth, you're going to be a much better player and you're going to stay in control of your emotions much easier. And problem number 10 is settling for mediocrity. By that, I mean, a lot of poker players get into poker driven by the money. They get to a certain level, enough to pay the bills and stuff, and then they ease off. They kind of get satisfied. They get lazy. It's almost like you go from surviving and you can't switch gears to thrive. So when I think about life, it's a game of first, you're trying to survive, you're trying to pay the bills, you're trying to get food on the table, you're trying to live the lifestyle comfortably. Once you get to that point, you need to start looking over the horizon, thinking, how can I thrive? How can I do better? How can I push myself further? So many people settle for mediocrity. They get to a certain level, and then they just go, oh, I'm happy enough with this, I don't need more money. They make the excuse that they don't need more, they're happy how they are, but really it's just an excuse to not push further. I did it myself. I was a poker player, 3 years in, I was making good money, had my first 6-figure year, and I was like, I don't need any more money. This is good, I'm at this good level, nothing needs to change, everything's fine, I don't need to push any further, everything's good. And I realized I was just making an excuse to myself. I was telling myself that I didn't need to push further. If anything, I didn't know how to. I didn't know how to think about thriving. So I had to change my mindset. That's when I started thinking about my goals more. I started getting more clarity on what I wanted to do, what I want to achieve in the long term, and that allowed me to thrive, to think about bigger goals and set the bar higher. Because we will achieve what we aim for over the long run. So if you set the bar low and you go, okay, I'm happy here, you're not going to be able to achieve the things that you could have achieved if you just aimed higher and thought about thriving rather than just surviving. So guys, these are the 10 most common problems I'm seeing in the poker community today. I've got something super exciting coming for you guys really soon, which is going to help you deal with all these problems, find the solutions, walk you through the steps so that you can deal with all these problems and really excel in the poker community. It's coming really soon. I'll keep you guys posted. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Plenty more poker content coming from me very soon.